Hello, everyone. Welcome to Portuguese Beginner Lessons, Week 4, Lesson 4. In today's lesson, we are going to learn some new vocabulary words, phrases, and also forming some other sentences. We are also going to learn the similarities between Spanish and Portuguese. I'm going to explain in Spanish now. Yo expliqué que vamos a aprender vocabulario nuevo hoy y también yo expliqué que vamos a aprender las similitudes entre español y portugués. Comenzamos ahora. So here you can see the Spanish column and the Portuguese column here on the screen, and we're going to just look at the similarities here. If you only speak English, then you can disregard the Spanish part, but if you are speaking Spanish and English, if you're bilingual in both, this will be a piece of cake for you, the similarities. So we're going to go ahead and just say it in Spanish, and then I'm going to repeat it in Portuguese so that you can hear. So you have buenos dias or buen dia, good morning in Spanish. Then you have bom dia in Portuguese. Bom dia. Then in Spanish, we have buenas tardes. Good afternoon. In Portuguese, it's boa tarde. Boa tarde. Buenas tardes. Boa tarde. Okay? And then you have good evening. Buenas noches, or good night. And in Portuguese, it's going to be boa noite. You hear the similarity. It's very, very similar, muy similar. Then we have hola, hello. In Portuguese, hola, hola, hello. You have ciao in Spanish for goodbye. Ciao in Portuguese is pronounced the same, ciao. Adios in Spanish. Portuguese, adios. Por favor, which is please in Spanish. Portuguese is por favor. Por favor. Spanish, gracias, thank you. Gracias means thank you in Spanish. Portuguese, you have obrigado. Obrigado. If you're a woman, you're going to say obrigada. Obrigada. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. And in Portuguese, it's muito obrigado. And last but not least, here you have de nada in Spanish and de nada in Portuguese. So you guys see, it is so similar, but the pronunciation is just slightly different. Ustedes pueden ver y pueden escuchar que es muy similar, pero la pronunciación es un poquito diferente. Now, moving on to the first verb today, we're going to start with ir, which is to go. It's actually spelled the same in Spanish as well. Ir in Spanish, in Portuguese, ir. The R makes the H sound, so ir. So let's look at the first sentence here. We have I'm going to eat. Vou comer. Vou comer. Then you have I'm going to learn. Vou aprender. Vou aprender. Are you going to work? Você vai trabalhar? Você vai trabalhar? Are you going to teach? Você vai ensinar? Ensinar. Then, of course, the she is ela and he is ele. Vai is going to be the same, is going to or are going. So you have she is going to speak. Ela vai falar. He is going to speak. Ele vai falar. Now, the plural form for they. Elas or eles vão estudar. They're going to study. And of course, to complete the sentence, to add more vocab, you can always say, eles vão estudar hoje. They're going to study today. Eles vão estudar amanhã. They're going to study tomorrow. So it just, you can add vocabulary words as you go, but the main thing here to notice today and to practice is the going to. I'm going to. You're going to. He or she is going to. They're going to. And then, of course, you complete that to do what? And then that's where you're going to add the verb. Okay, so let's take a look here at some sentences in the past tense. So this is going to be past tense here. We have, for example, I studied, I practiced, I gave, I ate, I ran, I learned. So keep in mind when you are doing a past tense, conjugating in the past tense for the I form, you're going to change the AR verbs to EI, which is pronounced a. So, for example, estudar is an AR verb, right? Praticar is a AR verb. Dar is an AR verb. So, when you're referring to yourself, like I did something in the past, you're going to change that AR verb. The AR is going to change to EI, which is a. So, here we are. For example, try to keep up with the pattern or try to follow the pattern. Estudei, I studied. Pratiquei, I practiced. Dei, I gave, or eu dei. Keep in mind, guys, eu it can go there or it doesn't have to go there. So I know we discussed that in the last lesson last week, but just keep that in mind. Eu, it can be said or it doesn't have to be said. Nothing is incorrect in this case. So again, you can say eu dei, I gave, or just dei. Now, why are the other verbs just ending in I? Simple, because it ends in the ER or IR. So for ER verbs or IR ending verbs, the I form is going to change to I, which is just E. So it wouldn't be come because comer isn't a AR verb, it's an ER verb. If you already speak Spanish, then chances are you already know this concept. You already understand how this works. Si tú hablas español, ya entiendes cómo va todo. Esta parte es más fácil para ti. So, pretty much, I ate is going to be eu comí, or just comí. I ran, cogí. I learned, aprendi. Don't forget that DI is G. So, aprendi, or eu aprendi. Now what we're going to do is take a look at these same verbs but use them in sentences, in complete sentences. So we have here, I studied Portuguese. Eu estudei português, or just estudei português. I ate yesterday. Eu comi ontem. Eu comi ontem. Or I ran outside. Eu corri para fora. Eu corri para fora. I practiced a lot. Eu pratiquei muito. Eu pratiquei muito. I learned English. Eu aprendi inglês. Eu aprendi inglês. I spoke with her, or I spoke to her. Falei com ela. Falei com ela. And I'm going to explain here in Spanish. Here's the similarity. So, básicamente yo quiero explicar en español las similitudes. Estudié portugués. En español, estudié portugués. Eu comi ontem. Yo comí ayer. Eu corri para fora. Eu corri afuera. Eu pratiquei muito. Eu pratiquei mucho. Eu aprendi inglês. Eu aprendi inglês. Falei com ela. Yo hablé con ella. Entonces pueden ver y también pueden oír que es muy, muy, muy similar. So now we're going to look at some more sentence similarities. Ahora vamos a ver más similitudes entre las frases. Aquí tenemos Portuguese y también español. So we are going to start with the Portuguese sentence here. We have eu cozinhei para minha familia. I cooked for my family. In Spanish here, cociné para mi familia. Very similar, very similar. Portuguese. Aprendi outro idioma. I learned another language. In Spanish, aprendí otro idioma. It almost sounds the same, guys. You just have to really listen to that pronunciation difference. Again, if you don't know Spanish, just disregard this. If you already speak Spanish fluently and English, then this should be very, very simple for you to catch on to. We also have here in Portuguese, falei com ela ao telefone. I spoke to her on the phone. In Spanish, hablé con ella por teléfono. Very similar, muy similar. And if you are someone who speaks both Spanish and English, I would urge you to practice saying these sentences, practice the differences, practice the similarity sentences, because this is going to help you also to differentiate when you're speaking in Portuguese from when you're speaking in Spanish. What I mean by that is sometimes you find yourself getting very confused, but I also found that if I practice going back and forth saying the differences, like for example, eu cozinhei para minha família, and then I'll repeat out loud, eu cozinhei para minha família. If I get in the habit of that routine, that actually helps me to realize the differences much quicker, if that makes sense. So let's move on. Some more sentences here we have. Last night or yesterday night, I ate a lot of food. So we're just adding a little bit more vocab on the end of these sentences. So, last night I ate a lot of food. Ontem à noite comi muita comida. And of course, in Spanish, you have anoche comí mucha comida. Similar, right? The next sentence we have here is last week, I worked every day. Na semana passada, trabalhei todos os dias. Now listen to how it sounds in Spanish. La semana pasada trabajé todos los días. Very similar. The next sentence we have here is, tonight I'm going to work more. In Portuguese, that is, esta noite vou trabalhar mais. In Spanish, esta noche voy a trabajar más. Let's also take a look at just some vocab words here that's similar. We have playa in Spanish, which is beach. Beach, I'm going to go to the beach. So in Portuguese, that's going to be praia. Praia. Then you have llorar, which is in Spanish means to cry. Llorar. In Portuguese, that's going to be pronounced chorar. Chorar. And then we have the two words woman, mujer in Spanish, and it's pronounced mulher in Portuguese. Mulher, mulher. So this portion right here is going to be the listening exercise for your worksheet for week 4. You should have it in your packet. It's going to be the first section on the worksheet 4. It's numbered 1 through 5. And right now, you're going to circle the verb that you hear me say. So the directions on the worksheet says watch lesson 4 worksheet, listening exercise, and circle the verb that you hear in the video. So I'm going to say the verbs now, and you should be listening in order to complete number 1 through 5. So number 1, trabalhar. Now you're going to circle the verb that you hear me say in number 2, comer. Number 3, cozinhar. Number 4, cozinhar. Number 5, dançar. Simple, right? So you were just supposed to circle the verb that you hear me say, that you heard me say, and now you're clear to move on to the next section of this worksheet. So that'll be all for today, guys, and I hope you all enjoyed this lesson. I know that it is a lot of vocabulary, but if you already speak Spanish, this should be very easy for you. It should be a piece of cake. The only thing that you would have to work on is the pronunciation of these different verbs and different words. Yo expliqué que es mucho vocabulario, yo sé, pero si tú hablas español, esto será más fácil para ti. Entonces, yo necesito que estudien, necesito que practiquen. Es muy importante para ser mejor. It's very important to practice in order to be better. So, this is very repetitive. Rewind this, pause it, take notes, practice, speak out loud, record yourself, hear yourself. That's very important. And I will see you guys in class next week for week 5, our final week.